ICE is set to expand operations in Chicago. The UK is arresting people for retweets, and RFK gets into it with Warren and Sanders. That and more on this week's America Uncovered headlines. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. I just want to say thank you all for leaving an American flag emoji in the comments. It's been a huge help with engagement and YouTube's algorithm, so keep going for this channel, for America, for humanity. But mostly this channel. President Donald Trump is dead. Rumors began swirling online earlier this week, but it was confirmed when President Trump himself appeared live in a live press conference and said he was not dead. And we know Trump lies about everything. The rumors got started after pictures showed apparent bruising on his hand. This is a result of chronic venous insufficiency, a non-life-threatening condition common in senior citizens. But others claimed he was dead because he allegedly went missing right around Labor Day weekend, up until photos surfaced of him taking some time off to do some golfing. This is, of course, after years of the media and talking heads saying Biden was sharp as a tack. Trump is gone for 3 days and everyone thinks he's dead. But maybe the lesson is, we need to stop electing senior citizens as president. We need to elect someone youthful, someone with it, someone like America Uncovered's officially endorsed presidential candidate for 2028, Chris Christie. Sure, he's 62, but he looks great for his age. But anyway, while Trump took some time off to golf, he kept busy trolling. The White House changed its profile picture on LinkedIn to a photo of Trump, meaning that if you've ever worked at the White House, it shows a picture of Trump on your resume. Even former President Barack Obama. This makes the rumors of Trump's death even more absurd. A man this petty will never die. Spite is going to make him outlive all of us. According to an analysis by the Pew Research Center, more than 1.2 million immigrants, both legal and illegal, left the U.S. labor force between January and the end of June. Of course, this is just preliminary data based on the Census Bureau's monthly current population surveys. We don't know until we get the final numbers, which could take a while. But that number will likely continue to grow, as Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has confirmed plans to expand ICE operations across the nation, including in Chicago.
We've already had ongoing operations with ICE in Chicago and throughout Illinois and other states, making sure that we're upholding our laws. But we do intend to add more resources to those operations.
However, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says police will not aid federal troops or agents. Chicago police being unhelpful in preventing laws being broken? No. Sure, 58 people got shot over Labor Day weekend, but without them, it could have been 59. Great job, Chicago. The Department of Homeland Security responded to the mayor's objections in the most civilized, mature manner possible, with a meme. I can't tell if we're living in the dumbest or the funniest timeline. It's quite possibly both. Trump responded by saying he plans on sending National Guard troops into Chicago to aid and protect ICE agents in carrying out their jobs, and to protect federal buildings. Something similar happened in Los Angeles over the summer. Although a federal judge ruled the Trump administration using the U.S. military in this way in Los Angeles violated federal law. But for Trump, all court rulings are just suggestions, awaiting appeal until the case reaches the highest court in the land. As I said before, Trump governs like a new D&D player role plays. A DM says he can't do that, and he says, let's roll for it. And if the dice and courts aren't in his favor this time, he'll just re-roll later on. And after the break, the UK is arresting people for retweets. Welcome back. It's time for another edition of What the Heck's Going On in Europe? The UK is seeing up to 30 people a day arrested for retweets and sharing cartoons, which sounds crazy. My American First Amendment enjoying brain can't imagine someone actually being arrested for a retweet. This surely has to be made up. I mean, there couldn't possibly be video evidence of something so insane, right?
I posted something that he posted. You come to arrest me, you don't arrest him. Why has it come to this? Why am I in cuffs? Because of something he shared, then I shared.
Because someone has been caused, obviously, anxiety based upon your social media post.
but not his.
Why you've been arrested.
Wow. Yes, in the UK, thanks to the Communications Act of 2003 and the Malicious Communications Act of 1988, you can be arrested for sharing content of an indecent, obscene, or menacing character. The number of arrests have been increasing year over year since the pandemic, with over 12,000 arrests taking place in 2023. And while the vast majority didn't result in convictions, people were detained and their reputations took a hit. And they aren't afraid to go after high-profile people, such as comedy writer Graham Linehan, over posts he made criticizing trans activists. Many are calling this a free expression crisis, which is bad, but at least potentially slightly better than Germany having 6 candidates from their right-wing AfD party die 13 days apart. That seems shady. But surely it's nothing fair. What's that, Shelley? 7 candidates within 14 days. Almost all of them died after being ill. The police claim there's no evidence of foul play, and candidates from other parties died too, so, it might be nothing suspicious whatsoever. But still, I'm going to call that a coincidence crisis. Either that or the Mexican cartel is on European vacation. But back to free speech in Britain. Americans worry the sort of crackdown on free speech could happen in the States. Vice President J.D. Vance expressed these concerns directly to the UK Prime Minister.
There have been infringements on free speech that actually affect not just the British, of course, what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and by extension American citizens. So,
yeah, that video is shocking. Not because Vance called out the PM to his face, but because thanks to all the memes, I actually forgot what Vance looks like. Speaking of the government trying to stamp out illnesses, maha. On July 31st, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. swore in Susan Monterez as the new CDC director. 27 days later, she was fired after refusing to resign under pressure. Why, that's only 2.7 Scaramucci's. The Trump administration said Monterez didn't align with MAHA values. Monterez's lawyer says she refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and fire dedicated health experts. In the past month, the CDC has seen mass layoffs, and 4 high-profile CDC officials resigned and wrote an op-ed in the New York Times saying Kennedy is endangering every American's health. So what are some of these initiatives that Monterez didn't agree with? It seems one topic she and RFK disagreed over was vaccines and the moves Kennedy made on them. For example, the FDA, which is part of the Department of Health and Human Services, approved updated COVID-19 shots, but with restrictions for children and young adults without high-risk health conditions, which could limit access. And Kennedy canceled $500 million in funding for mRNA vaccines for respiratory diseases like COVID and the flu, which will impact research at a number of pharmaceutical companies. Although, to be fair, it's hard to fault someone for being hesitant to trust and demanding transparency from pharmaceutical companies. The ones that helped drive the opioid crisis that's still ongoing and it's killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. This would be like if they came out with Pol Pot chewable vitamins. You'd question it before giving it to your kids. Speaking of giving things to your kids, Florida plans to become the first state to eliminate all childhood vaccine mandates. The Florida State Surgeon General said the current mandates are immoral intrusions on parents' rights to make health decisions for their children. So it's a debate over personal freedom versus public responsibility, just like with guns. So on the bright side, at least this ruling will lead to a few parents being less worried about their kids getting shot up at schools. And where does President Trump stand on the issue of vaccines? Trump, who is a massive fan of the COVID vaccine since he initiated Project Warp Speed to create it, said Pfizer showed him great numbers regarding the vaccine and that he wants those to be made available to the public. For what it's worth, this seems like something Kennedy would be in favor of. As he said, part of his mission as the HHS secretary would be to restore public trust in vaccines. And Kennedy wants to do the same for the CDC.
There's a lot of trouble at CDC, and it's going to require getting rid of some people over the long term in order for us to change the institutional culture and bring back pride and self-esteem and make that agency the stellar agency that it's always been.
Kennedy then got into a heated tussle with Elizabeth Warren at a congressional hearing, accusing her of taking hundreds of millions of dollars from Big Pharma. And then Bernie Sanders came back with this odd defense.
Every Republican got corporate PAC money for the pharmaceutical industry. Democrats as well. Everybody is corrupt, but you? Is that what we're looking at? I don't think so. And I think the issue now...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I have to agree with Kennedy on that. But what do you think? Leave your comments below with that American flag emoji. And before you go, check out this video recommended by the algorithm, the robotic equivalent of that kid with psychic powers from the Twilight Zone. We all hate it, but can never say it. Happy thoughts, always happy thoughts. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thank you for watching America Uncovered.